Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, and online is Wootini with another Gay Gamer video podcast for you. This week, there weren't any exciting new releases at the movies, so I ended up going to see Ne Zha 2, which, it's apparently like one of the most successful movies of the year. And A24 re-released it with a dub in English so that it could make more money in America, I guess. I realized when I went in that I had never seen the first one, and I said, I hope I can follow the second one. I don't know. I was kind of joking, but thankfully the movie, I was like, maybe I should have read the Wikipedia plot summary of the first movie, but it's fine. It opened with a whole narration that like basically explained, here is what happened in the first movie, basically, and summarized it in just a few minutes. And the first movie ended with the two main characters, basically their bodies were destroyed. So this movie opens with the two characters, they're trying to resurrect them. Unfortunately, something goes wrong and one of the characters, his body falls apart. So his spirit goes into the other character, Ne Zha, and Ne Zha holds both spirits and has to go on this quest where he goes to like this celestial palace where he undergoes a series of trials in order to become an immortal, because once he becomes an immortal, he's allowed to pick one of these many magic items in storage, and he's going to ask for a specific magic item that will help them to restore the body of the other character, his brother. And that's what starts the story going. Obviously, it becomes way more complicated than that. There's twists, backstabs, friends become enemies, enemies become friends, you don't know who to trust, loyalties are all over the place. And it just kind of becomes a bit of a mess. It's a little overcomplicated, honestly. Visually, it is stunning. There is just some breathtaking visuals in this movie. Like, scene after scene, it was just like, whoa. It was very impressive, honestly. But the thing is 2.5 hours long, and it feels it. It's never boring, but it feels long. And it's just one thing after another, and it's like, what? So by the end of it, you're kind of beaten down, and it's kind of exhausting, and you're just like, oh my god, another action set piece? Jesus, Mary and Joseph, it's too much. And also, because of this, when you get to the end of the movie, there's this big emotional moment that didn't land for me because everything had been so stretched out over the course of almost 2.5 hours at that point that like it didn't really land. And then the ending also kind of is a little anticlimactic, and it just sort of feels like they're setting it up for Ne Zha 3, which is going to be like 6 hours long or something. I don't know. So it was fine. I will also say that I did see it in IMAX 3D because I thought these visuals deserved to be seen on the biggest screen possible, and I love my 3D. Unfortunately, it was a little disappointing because normally computer animated movies look great in 3D because Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, etc., they use the CGI modeling to create the 3D effect, So it's the faces are round and everything, and there's depth and whatever, and they create the depth with the 3D models. However, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was cheaper or easier or both, they converted this like a live action movie, which to my eye, as a big 3D nerd, I saw multiple errors throughout the entire film, and then there's a lot of like bad 3D that looks embossed, like people holding their hands in front of them like this, instead of actually having space in between. It looks like their clothing is just coming up onto their hands and then back down again, and it just looks embossed, It's like a really bad, cheesy, cheap, lazy 3D effect that doesn't quite work. So that was disappointing. Because there's a lot of great stuff in there that would have looked amazing in 3D with stuff coming at the camera and all this depth, and it would have looked great if they had done it like a normal 3D movie, like a 3D CGI movie, but instead they converted it like live action, and they were a little lazy about it, and it wasn't as good as like the Marvel conversions, which tend to not have too many visible errors in it and glitches. So, boo. but it was fine. It's just really long. As for games, I continue to play my fitness boxing. And this week, the game, one of the daily missions was to work out with Evan. So I did that, and he was fine. And I think I've worked out with all of the trainers now. I'm not sure. I feel like I've worked out with everybody, and all the guys are okay. A few of the girls are not great. Like, I'm like, eh. So we'll see. I feel like there might be one more trainer I haven't done yet, but we'll see. But yeah, they're fine, and I'm still enjoying it, and it is a solid workout, especially when you do the 3 exercise, 40-minute workout. The first one's a nice warm-up, the second one is a good one, and then the third one has you dripping in sweat. And then sometimes they'll throw in, like, hey, I think you got a little more in you, let's do an EX super fast one. And it's only like 2 minutes long, and it's like insane, and then you're really dripping with sweat. Speaking of, I felt like I noticed this as I was playing, but it wasn't until this last week where I actually was like, yes, the trainers, they sweat as well. I thought I'd noticed it, but it's kind of hard to notice. It's a very subtle effect that you need the right lighting on the right stage to like really actually see it, especially in close-up. Then you can see it. But they actually changed the character model and added a little bit of sweat when they've been doing a good workout with you, which I thought was a nice touch. I did not play a whole lot of Nikki this week. As I said last episode, I was not anticipating it because there were other things to do. And I'm in between updates. So Nikki just gets like, I go in, I do my daily things, and then I get out. And then so I can play other things. Though I did take a photograph. I think I've mentioned this back when I first started playing Infinity Nikki, but that was a long time ago. When you use the photo mode to take a picture in the game, you can leave that picture for others to see in the game. Like, as you're exploring the world, there's these little pink hourglasses that you come across, and you can go up to them and look at the photo that someone took in that spot. And then if you like that photo, because some of them are really impressive, you can give it a like. And I took a photo on some stone steps that actually has become my most liked photo. I mean, it's not that much. It's like, last check, it was like 16 likes, but that's still the most likes I've ever gotten on a photo in the game. So that's nice. So yay me. You don't get anything for it, just that pleasure of knowing that people liked your photo, like on social media. It's just that little endorphin snap that comes in. Obviously, I played a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley because this was the new update, the emotional rescue update, which brings Inside Out into the game. And I was surprised that when I booted up the game, it actually has now an animated menu of joy and sadness at the console. And I was just like, oh, how cute. And I was like, wow, how come it took so long for Disney Dreamlight Valley to do an animated menu? But it's very cute. And you go to the Inside Out realm, and then you have to help Joy, who's as obnoxious as ever. You have to help her find memories and stuff, and, to help Riley. And then you meet Sadness and whatever. So first you bring Joy to the valley after you complete the quest, which was not as bad as like the Alice in Wonderland or the Peter Pan ones. This was not very involved. It did not take long to get Joy into the valley. And then you have to go back, and you have to do a few more things, and then you bring Sadness to the valley. And so that's it. And now I work on their friendships. And obviously I am also working on the new Star Path with all the retro furniture, which I'm very excited about, unlocking everything. Though I have nowhere to put it. I already had to get rid of Aladdin's house so that I could put Joy and Sadness's house in that spot. And I know they have these islands where and I'm sure there are people who have made like these elaborate like amusement parks, with the paths and the stores and the rides and the everything. But I want to put things in my valley because that's where I am. I don't go to the floating islands ever, unless I need to speak to a character whose house has been pushed up to an island to make space. for a quest, and then I will go to the island, go to their house and find them, and then talk to them if they're not milling about the valley. So it's just sort of frustrating because it's like I have all this cool stuff and I want to have it out where I'll see it all the time, but I'm going to end up having to put it on a floating island where I'm like never going to go, and that's sort of irritating because it's kind of a waste. You know what I mean? Well, that's just me. But I did obviously spend the moonstones to unlock everything in the star path so I can get every last reward because they're very cool. And then I also spent some extra moonstones to get lucky. One of the Dalmatians. Now there's only 100 left because I've got one of them. He's just adorable. I had to have him. But now I'm down to like 6,000 moonstones, and I'm just like, I've got to get more moonstones because I don't want to have to spend money on it. Because now I'm afraid, I hope they don't have anything good that I want to buy because I can't spend any more moonstones right now. I got to build that back up again. Because I refuse to spend actual money on moonstones, because it would be one thing if it was like Nikki, where it's like, oh, can you spend like $5 on this so that you can get some stuff? And it's like, well, sure, it's just $5 because I didn't pay anything. The game is free to play. But Disney, I paid for the game. So I feel like I shouldn't have to spend any additional money to get additional content. I should just have to play it to get the content. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't have to spend more money. It wasn't free. So, yeah, that update came in the middle of the week, so I did actually get to play some Dragon Age at the beginning of the week, because I didn't play any Dragon Age at the end of the week. But I did get to play in the beginning, where I did this main story quest, where there was a big boss fight with a dragon, and you get like halfway through it, and then suddenly another dragon comes in as backup, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it was just chaos. And once again, it was a big boss fight that I felt like I got through by the skin of my teeth, running out of potions and barely alive, and it was rough, but I did beat it. And then after that quest finished, it opened up a whole bunch more companion quests, and one of them was for Davrin, so of course I obviously went on his quest. There was no combat or anything, it was just a let's hang out and talk and do some exploring and stuff. And at the end of this quest, we had a conversation, and I had the option, and I took it, to lock him down. Like, you had the option, it was like, you could select the romance option to make him your romantic partner and like confirm it. So now I don't have to worry about anybody else. I don't have to flirt with Lucanus anymore. I'm with Davrin. We are an official couple. So it was lovely, and we shared a lovely little kiss, which was awkward looking because of the clipping with the armor and stuff, but whatever. I have a boyfriend, so yay. I felt like that was a nice victory in Dragon Age Veilguard. So that is it. I'm going to shut up now and let you get back to your lives, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye!